Welcome everyone. Today we have the privilege of talking to Karsh, who runs and founded Martian. He's been one of our great clients this semester, and we got the chance to kind of sit down, talk about his journey, his startup, and a little bit of what Martian does, what they're doing into the future, and how we, played a small part in that. So Akash, just start how'd you get into crypto? How'd you come, into this wonderful space?
Sure, yeah. I mean, before I dive into that, I would definitely want to thank you guys for hosting this and having me on. It has been a pleasure working with FranklinDAO, Eric, Nathaniel, Cindy, Kimberly. All you guys are awesome. And we've worked on a few, diverse things, and like you guys have always given us really good insights. Happy to be here. And yeah, coming to your question, Eric, I think uh, yeah, so I can probably talk a bit more about, my journey into crypto, and that kind of covers like my background as well. So I did my undergrad from IIT KGP in India, uh, and I did my undergrad in electronics and communications engineering, which is kind of like a study of how the internet works, how Wi-Fi works, and it predates back to how digital communication started working, like the radio communication stuff, etc. So I had like a natural inclination to kind of, enjoy these kind of domains. But I was slightly confused in undergrad, which I think is the case with a lot of folks. And I decided that I wanted to do management consulting when I got out of school, and I ended up joining McKinsey. And I worked in McKinsey's Bangalore offices, mainly serving clients across manufacturing and financial services. Uh, Although I cannot name the clients, but I worked in a chocolate factory, I worked in a battery factory, I worked with a home loan lender. So it was a diverse set of experiences. But while I was at McKinsey, I kind of started realizing that my heart is really in tech and doing cool stuff, building cool products and seeing what can really, really impact the next 1 decade or 2 decades of human life is kind of what gives me a lot of passion. And with that in mind, I decided that I need to go back into tech. And if you start consulting, it's not really a very linear path to get back into tech. A good way to do that was to go to grad school, study some of the things in greater detail. And yeah, I started applying to grad school in the US. I was very lucky to have been accepted at Columbia. Started school here, and I think in my first semester, again out of serendipity, I ended up taking a class that was taught by Professor Tim Roughgarden, who I think is one of the best academic voices in crypto right now. And surprisingly enough, like the course that he taught me was the last course that he has taught at Columbia for a while. Like I think he's on a sabbatical now. But yeah, that course was very, very fundamental, talked about distributed computing, how blockchain technology as a distributed computing system is different from centralized application servers, etc. Uh, that really got me into the nuts and bolts of how blockchains work. And naturally, my curiosity got ignited. I started reading more about the space, started looking at newer blockchains, understanding what kind of trade-offs people are making. Read more about Solana, stumbled upon Aptos somewhere in early, 2022, and decided to keep building on Aptos. So that's kind of like a big segue, but I hope that also throws some light on my background.
Yeah, I mean, I always find the story really cool. I've heard it a few times now. I guess then like going on Martian, like how did that get started? Did you guys pivot? How did you guys come to where
Mhm.
you are now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I started working on Martian in Professor Roughgarden's class. It was like a class project. and I was building a DAO tool. And this is in, I think, again, like late 2021 when there were more DAO tools than DAOs. But it was just an experiment. I was trying to build something out. I ended up making a lot of connections with wallets inside, the web application. Started minting tokens, writing Solidity smart contracts. That just like gave me a very good high level overview of what are the kinds of development activities that are happening in the space. I did not have a plan to kind of continue working on that DAO tool, mostly because I wasn't able to build a conviction that the market is big enough to, leave everything and dive right in. Uh, and somewhere around that time, I also met my co-founder. Like I know him for a long time, but not as a co-founder. I kind of started talking about he's my roommate and like I've known him for about 5 6 years. But I was telling him more about what I'm building in the space, and even he got interested. And luckily enough, he's a much better developer than I am. So we ended up pairing together, and from the DAO tool, we shifted to like building a wallet on Aptos, mostly because of the timing. Like Aptos was uh, going to launch in about 6 months from the time when we started working on it, and it felt like the right time to start building stuff there. Being early, as like crypto has shown, usually helps. So yeah, that's kind of where we pivoted once, but yeah, we've been building the wallet for I think about like 12, 14 months now.
Audit. And I know you guys are all hard at work. So I know the company is, more than just a simple wallet on Aptos, right? With all these kind of innovations and competitions coming for all these different wallets. What is the direction that you guys are going in terms of innovating on your wallet? And then what are the kind of biggest things in the horizon that you're working on now that you think you'll be working on, 3 6 months, even a year into the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. The wallet space definitely is super crowded and also super fragmented. Maybe I can talk a little bit about some of the biggest issues and problems that haven't yet been solved very well by wallets, and then maybe I can touch upon what we are excited about most. Uh, I think number one is a UX problem because of seed phrases. Uh, like people want to have self custody, but at the same time, managing seed phrases is a really difficult task. Uh, you cannot even imagine a lot of folks who go to like undergrad, do tech courses. Even those folks are not, super happy with having to manage a seed phrase. Now that alone tells you so much about the mass adoption of crypto and how far it is. You cannot imagine your mom doing it. Like I cannot imagine my mom doing it. I don't know about other people's moms, but my mom can definitely not manage like seed phrases, and she would just say no, that I'm not going to use this. So yeah, long story short, like the UX problem with seed phrases is definitely big. Think second is around fragmentation, and I think fragmentation is not really a problem of wallets per se, but it is a problem of layer ones and layer twos. There are so many blockchains, and all of them have different wallets that it becomes super difficult for a person just entering crypto or even like uh, you know quote unquote OG users to kind of use a lot of blockchains because they have to keep switching between wallets. There are so many seed phrases. There are multiple assets on multiple chains. There is no easy way of like moving liquidity across. So yeah, I think like these two problems are kind of the biggest that we see right now. And I can touch upon like some things that we at Martian are definitely excited about. Yeah, but before I do that, I would just want to add like a third point that I think is still a big problem, and that's around a network issue. Like there are no social networks with wallets, uh, and that kind of precludes people from enjoying the crypto or Web3 experience a lot because it's an isolated experience. If you think about Web2 and the rise of like social feeds and RSS and then Facebook, it was all because like people could interact with each other, and that really led to a critical mass just using that technology and that technology taking off. But that hasn't happened yet with crypto. And I think since wallets are the entry point for Web3, there needs to be a social layer that kind of connects them. So yeah, like just to sum up the three problems that I talked about, like the first one was around seed phrase UX issues, second one was around fragmentation across blockchains, and the third is around no social network for wallets. And yeah, I'm going to take a pause here in case you guys have any questions, but I'm happy to like chat about what Martian is thinking about these things.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think definitely let's go into the solutions there. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So for taking the first point first, which is the seed phrase UX issue, I think a lot of advancements are being made. There's a whole, sector of MPC wallets. There's another sector of account abstraction wallets. There's a bit of an overlap between the two, but like technically they're quite different. And I can just talk a little bit about what we are excited about and how it works. I think we are definitely excited about MPC. With MPC, you can break the secret phrase or the private key into multiple shards, keep a few shards on a centralized server, and keep one shard with the user, either in their device or protected behind a social login that they control. So in this way, the wallet still remains self-custodial, but you do not have seed phrases at all. You just need to do a Gmail plus a two-factor authentication, and then you have access to your wallet, and you can move funds from your wallet only by doing this authentication. Like no third-party wallet service provider can move those assets for you. We are quite excited about this because like with MPC, you can scale across multiple blockchains very easily. With account abstraction, now I can talk a little bit about account abstraction. Account abstraction is something which is baked into the consensus layer of the layer one blockchains, and it gives a greater amount of flexibility than what I think an MPC can provide. You can also do gas subsidizations for users. You can do a bit of, I believe, this social login stuff. But account abstraction is siloed. Like different blockchains will have different account abstraction standards. And if you're looking to build a really good multi-chain experience, this can be a roadblock. So I think we are more bullish about MPC. But if you were to ask me, like, how would the future of like really good wallet UX look like? I would say it would be a mixture of a little bit of MPC and a little bit of account abstraction. Cool. So that's point number one. The second point that I think I had raised was around fragmentation. I think multi-chain wallets definitely make a lot of sense. Like there is a lot of tribalism, I agree with, like blockchains, and it's kind of like a religion. You follow one, and a lot of times following one comes at the cost of, shitting on the other. But that isn't really how users look at it. I believe like users do want to have like multiple blockchain use cases. They want to have assets on different blockchains. So if your user really wants to have access to different blockchains, I think you as a company are serving the end users and not the blockchains. So you will really try to like make this experience best for your users, and you should have multi-chain support. And with multi-chain support, things like bridging can become very easy, especially if a single wallet has access to different blockchains. Like right now, if you have to bridge assets from, let's suppose, Ethereum to Aptos, you have to go first sign a transaction with a MetaMask wallet, and then you have to go sign another transaction with a Martian wallet, and then your assets are transferred. But if a single wallet has this capability of supporting multiple blockchains, you can just sign like one transaction in Martian, and assets will move from Ethereum to Aptos, something along those lines. And the third point that I chatted about, the social network thing, I think we're definitely quite excited about that. We've already done a few things there. We added Twitter support some time back. Like you can integrate your Twitter account into your wallet account, and you can do a bunch of like social stuff with it. Like you can sell NFTs on Twitter, or you can send coins to people using Twitter, etc. These were just experiments for us to see, is there really a product market fit for social features to be built in Web3? And we were pleasantly surprised to find that within a month of us launching this beta test, we had around 130,000 people sign up for this. Uh, and a lot of people have been using this. And like, if you look at our Twitter page and if you look at the feedback people have given us, which is all public, you'll see that people actually like enjoy using this a lot. So I would say in terms of our priority, social stuff is definitely like number one on our list. We have some kind of like PMF already there, and we want to expand further on that.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, I've been seeing your Twitter and it's been popping off, and Daniel's been following our whole DAO when he demos kind of what he's done for you guys. I guess kind of jumping into that, if you remember way back when I reached out to you about hiring FranklinDAO, do you remember what you guys initially wanted to explore?
Uh, yeah, we were kind of looking into gaming as well, especially with like blockchain-based games. Uh, Wallets have again like an important role to play there. They would be the entry point for a lot of users, gamers in this context, for them to hold their digital assets, view their digital assets, and transfer them or sell them, etc. So we have definitely been excited about the space. I would just like want to qualify this excitement as more of kind of an exploration, because I think Web3 gaming as a sector itself is quite in a nascent stage. There are a few like really good games. There is organic traction. There are a lot of transacting wallets, etc. But personally speaking, and I'm not, you know, the caveat is I'm not a gamer, but I haven't really played a really engaging Web3 game yet. So we're still waiting for it, but definitely an area that we're super interested in.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Nathaniel, if you want to chat, Nathaniel was the main analyst on staff with Martian. I guess when you were looking into Web3 games, what before you looked into it, what were your impressions of gaming in Web3?
Yeah, for sure. So, when I was looking into Web3 gaming, I first looked at like the top blockchain games, like seeing like their hype cycles, their tokenomics, how they were working, how they were able to onboard like so many users on them. So like I looked at like top games like off the top of my mind, like StepN, Axie Infinity, and like I saw that they were able to onboard like so many users in like a very short period of time, but they weren't able to like sustain them, or like their economies were really unsustainable, and their marketing, like how they were able to like keep talking about it, try to hype up their game, it kind of died like in like a couple months, or like definitely under a year. So I really looked into why why that happened, why there's no like successful as of now like any popular Web3 gaming. So I guess like some impressions of it is that like it's a really like short-lived like industry, really early. There's a lot of like innovations that I'm looking at, like different on-chain gamings, and definitely how like account abstraction ERC-4337 can definitely help onboard like more users, but maybe provide like better UX and definitely better like all ramping for normal users, since there's a lot of gaming studios and um like active gamers that they have like a lot of concerns and a lot of like feedback they want to give to the industry, and a lot of it revolves around like sustainable economies and better UX and design. So definitely looking at those points in it.
Yeah, makes sense. I guess you Karsh, like if there's like one main thing that would explain why you guys kind of ended or halted your exploration of gaming, what would it be?
Yeah, I don't think we have like ended our exploration with gaming, but we're kind of like prioritizing the social stuff above it because we were able to like find a decent amount of PMF there. Uh, and I think it kind of takes me back to the last summer, Eric, when we were interning together and you were looking into Web3 gaming. And I remember one thing that, you know, you had discussed in one of our meetings that uh, gamers play for fun and they don't really play for earning money. So if there are Web3 games that are really fun and are engaging and organically grow, that's the point when this industry will take off. Like making really complicated tokenomics and giving people economic incentives to play something and calling it play to earn. I mean, kind of worked in the bull market when everything was
Right.
popping, but like when things start crashing, it doesn't look, you know, just as lucrative as it did then. Um, so yeah, I would just like say that we still have to wait for a really fun and engaging Web3 game where NFTs and like tokens are actually put to good use and serve real utility instead of just like speculation. I think that could be the turning point, and we're waiting for it. Like we're keeping our eyes peeled. We are definitely excited about the space, but we are just not, you know, prioritizing this as number one for us right now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think the Layer Zero we have a layer team working with Layer Zero and their really big deep dive into on-chain gaming and things like that. And one of the interesting arguments they made is maybe in some, sometime down the line, right? Games are super fun. Then on-chain games would be, way better than normal games because they
Mhm.
bring, normal gamers, but they also bring in people who are interested in the financialization of games or like interested in making money, whatever, right? That probably doubles or triples your user base at least compared to a normal game.
100%. Yeah, and I would also like to add that we're super bullish on SWI. We just expanded on SWI, and SWI is positioning itself as the gaming blockchain. A lot of the token standards and gas subsidization stuff, etc., that they've done is to like focus on games. And being like one of the topmost wallets on SWI right now, a lot of the apps that we are looking to work with are also games. When I said that our number one priority is not to do gaming, it meant that in-house we're not building any gaming stuff. But we are definitely building infrastructure for games, even if this industry is like nascent and we haven't found the best game. Like it's a matter of time if it does have to, you know, pop. And we are building infrastructure, we are integrating with games, we're trying to understand how best we can serve them. And I think we're, again, as I said, like being patient and waiting for like really good games to come out of this.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Um, okay, cool. Then the next thing we kind of took a look at was kind of airdrops, right? Or
Right.
I guess ways to incentivize users to join. Um, you know, I could feel when you were talking about airdrops that you guys had a lot of concerns, right? But you're also interested for a reason. So I guess like you want to kind of talk about the pros and cons of airdrops, what were your main concerns, but why were they attractive at the same time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the majority of my enthusiasm, and this doesn't really reflect Martian's enthusiasm as a company, but my personal enthusiasm in trying to understand airdrops is the fact that, like, whenever a new blockchain starts or a new layer one starts, like, you find a lot of users who are profiled as airdrop hunters. Like, these are the people who come and start testing the network, start buying stuff, start doing some things on testnet, just so that they can get the airdrop when the layer one or like layer two launches. We saw that happening with Aptos, and I'm pretty sure like Arbitrum and Optimism, SWI, etc. A lot of them have these kind of users. So I was just more curious to understand like what really drives them, right? Like, of course, they want their airdrop, they want money, but they do want to earn it. Like there's a difference. They just don't, it's not like a lottery ticket where you come one day and like put a ticket and go away and wait for the money to come into your account. It's different than that. They actually use the network and they try to add value. Like if you look at our Discord servers, sure, you can like profile a lot of them as airdrop hunters, but they add real value. Like they tell you that this is going well, this is not going well, I would like to see this improved. And we have taken that feedback continuously. So I was more interested in understanding like what are the dynamics in which different airdrops happen, which ones have really added true value to their ecosystems, and which ones have just been, like a one-time CAC that is paid to show like some surge of activity that just dies. Uh, and I think a lot of it, goes back to the question, like, how do you define a successful airdrop? Like, what is that parameter that can define that this airdrop was successful? Uh, and again, like, it depends on whether the company or the protocol doing the airdrop has a long-term view or a short-term view. Like, if somebody has a short-term view, they might as well just, splurge a lot of money in terms of tokens. People will get them, people will do some activity and then fade away. There might be better ways of doing this. Like, you could do some sort of allocation of airdrops, but like keep people engaged for a longer time, help them build habits, help them understand protocols, let them become evangelists, and that is a positive sum game at the end. Although like these are really theoretical ideas in my head, I haven't yet found like this happening just because like airdrops have not been like observed for a really long time up until now. Uh, I what a few things that I've seen, especially in like layer one protocols, people come in, people get a lot of liquidity through the layer one or layer two tokens. They start trading it a little bit just because now they have free money. That increases the activity on the blockchain network, kind of pushes their prices up, uh, which in a way kind of makes up for the LTV for that, cap that they put in with the airdrops. But I just don't think this is the best way of using airdrops. Like you need to incentivize long-term usage, long-term behavior changes, and true loyalty to the protocol. And I'm still trying to find out like the best ways you can do so.
Yeah, makes sense, makes total sense. So I guess Nathaniel, on your end, when Martian came to us with this, you took a look at all sorts of past airdrops, right? What did you find were the common trends, first of all?
Yeah, for sure. So just to start, like I think it's really hard to see like we need to find like a balance. Like how can we use like airdrops as a way to get a lot of users, get a lot of traction, but at the same time like not have like people just take advantage of airdrops and just use it as a way just to like make money and not like use the platform in the long term. So I think seeing how that works, how we can balance those two things. But for me, just starting with LooksRare, um so briefly, LooksRare is an NFT marketplaces that they incentivize their users who actively interact on their platform. So they were really popular like over a year or two ago, and they utilize this approach called a vampire attack to get users. So they targeted OpenSea, or they only targeted OpenSea users, and their purpose was to like drain their market share, and to just like target their sole competitor and to onboard them. And their airdrops, they would incentivize these users, based on like how um how active they were on their platform, based on like the volume, their sales volume. And they actually, in like the first week of trading, they had like an estimated sale volume of like over $5 billion, which like just like after 1 week of their like token airdrop, which is like insane. But like ever since like their airdrop, they like fell off like a lot. They've got a lot of criticism with like wash trading, and like I'll talk about like another one, Blur. They've also followed like a similar like cycle as LooksRare, following their airdrops. So like when I looked into Blur, Blur has like taken like the media by storm like this year. Um, Blur is like another NFT marketplaces aimed towards like pro traders, and they've launched like a bunch of these airdrops, also based on like how active you are on using the platform, um, like who takes like larger bigger risks, bigger bids on the platform, and they've been like doing these airdrops, and they've been attracting a lot of like users, and they've been extremely successful. Like everyone like on Twitter like knows about them. Everyone in the NFT place knows about them. So I think like in the short term, or like even up till now, like everyone knows about Blur. But I think like looking, oh yeah, I'll talk about like one of their like features they had. So one of the hidden features they had was like a loyalty like hidden feature. So they had this feature like in like behind the scenes, and they would like value users based um like how much they like traded on the platform. So they would rank like a user. If you get like less than 50% loyalty, that means you had low luck to get like, they would call it like a mythical care package airdrop. And if you had like over like 90 to 97%, you had like high luck. And if you had like 97% or above, you had very high luck. So they would have this hidden feature for like every user um to for them to be rewarded based on how they use their platform. But I think going forward, like Blur also had like a lot of like right now having a lot of controversy about um like wash trading, a lot of people just using the platform just to benefit themselves, and not using the platform for like for the long term or being actively involved. So I think like these top companies, like um how do you balance them both? And like what are ways that you can both like get a lot of these users, but then have them actively use the platform for the for like a long time, not just for the short term.
Makes sense. Yeah. Would you say Blur right now seems to be the most successful airdrops, right? We've seen a lot of controversy with Arbitrum stuff recently,
Yeah,
etc. Like,
I saw
when
it.
you look at when you're looking at airdrops now, like would you say is like the most successful one?
I'd say um definitely Blur, because just in a short period of time they were just able to just take the market by storm. They like drained OpenSea's like share by like a lot. Like I haven't checked now to see like how they're doing, but like people were saying like Blur's like gonna overtake OpenSea, which has been like the biggest player in all of like crypto for like forever. So
Yeah.
I have to say like Blur is definitely is definitely a good like successful use case in the short term.
Yeah. Yeah, I think airdrops seem like really useful inherently, right? Like, I think it's very difficult to flip an incumbent traditionally, right? But airdrops seem to have changed that completely, at least within Web3, where
Mm.
I guess through hyper financialization, you're basically acquiring these customers for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So I guess it makes
Exactly.
sense. Okay. I think with that, we're gonna kind of end it there. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Karsh, so much for hopping on this podcast. Really appreciate it. If you guys want to check out more from FranklinDAO, you can find us at Twitter at Franklin_DAO. I think that's right. You can find us on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, under all of those same tags. This Martian stuff. We might figure out a way to publish it soon, in which case it would be on the Substack, FranklinDAO.substack.com. Karsh, you want to talk about really quickly where they can find Martian stuff?
Yeah. Uh, we are on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @Martian_wallet. I think the same identifier goes for our Discord server. And yeah, we're really responsive on Twitter. If you listeners have like anything that you want to ask or discuss about, feel free to DM us. My Twitter handle is @UTKSN15, T as in train. Yeah, and if you guys want to chat with me, I'm happy to do so too. And thanks a lot, Eric, for having me. It was a pleasure.
Of course. Hey, remember how we talked about we're gonna run a Martian airdrop wallet thing on our Twitter, or not, mint to NFT by retweeting on our Twitter?
Yeah, don't use airdrop as a word.
Sorry, not airdrop. Retweet mint NFTs on
Yes,
Twitter.
yeah, we can do that.
That would be wonderful. So follow the FranklinDAO Twitter to get access to that. Yeah, okay, cool. We're gonna end it there. Thank you guys so much. And hope you
All right.